Good morning, market snappers. Welcome back. This is Jesse. We're getting started right at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Maybe I needed a longer pause because we're slightly early. There we go. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right on the dot. As usual, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're early. Sometimes we're 9:15. But for the most part, it's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if I'm focused on it and I don't let other work get distracted. Other work to distract me. So, good morning, market snipers. Welcome back. If you're new to the live stream, awesome. Welcome. If you're returning, even better. Good to see you back on the live stream. Help me, help you, help me with the algorithms. Smash the like button on the X app, YouTube app, repost the stream, share it with your friends and family. I would appreciate it. Help me, help you. Yeah, don't blow up the chat like that. I will delete it. Put user in timeout. What the heck? Why would you do that? Don't blow up the chat with 6, 7, 15 times in a row. So now your comments were removed and banned. That's the first time I've ever seen that. We've done live streams for like 2 years. I've never seen someone do that. But regardless, we're gonna keep moving forward. The question is Bitcoin head and shoulders pattern. Head and shoulders pattern. You got the left shoulder, you got a head, you got a right shoulder. If you know, or if you've been following me for any length of time, I started posting my charts on X 2021 that I use patterns as ideas, but I would not trade a pattern just by itself because in my opinion, it works out 50% of the time. I don't have any real data on this, of course, but in my opinion, the pattern works out 50% of the time in the correct direction and actually hitting the price target probably 30 to 35% in my own personal opinion. So, but using it as an idea like a fractal or, whether you're using Elliott wave as an idea or Wyckoff distribution or accumulation as an idea to go alongside what your thesis already is, right? So if you already have it mapped, price and targets and all that mapped out in a certain direction, and then you have a pattern that could potentially play out in the same direction and line up with other targets, then I'm all for it. So with that, on the first half of the live stream, we will cover Bitcoin. We always start off with Bitcoin first, and sometimes we do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, even an hour on Bitcoin if it's really important at the time. Sometimes it's just trading sideways and we don't need to cover it for that long. Altcoins continue to bleed. Maybe not all altcoins. Maybe you can find one that's running here or there. But the ones that at least that we were watching on the watch list continue to bleed out. Stocks, some of them are crashing. Some of them are, look like it possibly going through a topping pattern, all of that stuff. So gold, silver, looks like silver is down 18% today. Ooh, 18%. Gold's down 7%. Wow. And Bitcoin's down 2%. So I guess the whole narrative that gold and silver would top and money would flow into Bitcoin, it's just noise, just narratives, just hopium, copium, all that stuff. Trade the chart in front of you first and foremost. So no matter what gold is doing, the most important thing is to trade Bitcoin in the direction that it's going, right? Obviously, none of this is financial advice. Obviously, this is for educational purposes only, and hopefully we have a little bit of fun along the way. But with that, let's jump right into it. Second half of the live stream, we will cover your chart requests. So put in the ticker symbol and all that stuff. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's kind of what we have. That's what we're looking at. This is the weekly chart. So that's what it looks like with the actual candles on. And you know, I'm not claiming to be a head and shoulders pattern expert. I don't care to be. I'm just using it as an idea. When I put out the Wyckoff distribution on October 8th and it worked out 95% of what the price target could have done. I think it would have been 100% if it would have hit, say, below 80,000 or, but it only went 80,800. So if it would have hit like 78,000, it would have been 100% in my opinion. But it only hit like 95% of the target. So, you could chalk that up as it didn't hit the target fully, but it hit 95% of it. So again, the patterns, the Wyckoffs, the Elliott waves, I wouldn't build an entire strategy around it personally. And I've seen the quote unquote expert Wyckoffers, Wycoffians, right? The Wycoffians, so-called self-proclaimed experts, completely missed the Wyckoff distribution on Bitcoin at the top. Completely missed it, right? And they're experts. That was the first time I ever drew Wyckoff distribution, and I nailed it. And the Wycoffian Wycoffian experts completely missed it. And then they were so mad. They're like, "You're missing this, you're missing that." And I literally said, "I don't care to be a Wycoffian expert, but here is what I'm seeing. It looks like a Wyckoff distribution chart. I recognize the pattern. I drew it out, and it nearly nailed it perfectly. It was eerily similar. So, uh, again, I don't care to be a Wyckoff expert. I don't care to be an Elliott wave expert. So if you're a self-proclaimed Elliott wave or Wyckoff expert, I'm sorry, I don't care to be. Uh, and maybe I should be. Maybe I should be, but I don't care to be. So it's not a part of my trading strategy whatsoever, but I will use the pattern as an idea and or just like a fractal, right? Or just like a fractal. So, and if it plays out eerily similar and hits the sniper targets of the retracement, all for it. Then I'm all for it. So, but I don't based off what I've seen on the charts, I don't feel the need to be a Wycoffian or Elliott wave expert. And on that note, the Elliott waivers that are self-proclaimed experts and teach it, they're calling for super cycles. Are you kidding me? They're calling for a super cycle again, right? They were calling for a super cycle in 2021. They're calling for a super cycle now, even though we're in a bear market. So doesn't matter. Nah, 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 nah. So here we are. Bitcoin. Could I have drawn the left shoulder over here? Sure. Does it matter? I don't think so. Uh, the main thing is kind of watching this neckline, right? This neckline, right? But also we had on here this line, right? So this horizontal, in my opinion, was more important at 86,800. So we already had a weekly close below it, and now this is follow through. This is a second. This will, assuming it closes on Sunday. Today's Friday, so we have Saturday and Sunday until the weekly candle closes. Assuming the weekly candle closes around this area or lower, it's follow through on that confirmation. So it was confirmed weekly candle close below this pivot point, taking out that pivot point. We already took out this pivot point. That's a lower low over here. But they will continue to move the bar, right? They'll continue to say, "Oh, it hasn't taken out this pivot point. It hasn't lost support." Then it did. Then they say, "Oh, it's the structure is still intact because it hasn't taken out this." This is deja vu from 2022, right? Deja vu from 2022. Then, "Oh, it's still holding support over here. It hasn't been taken out." It was taken out over here in November, right? This was taken out. This pivot point was taken out in November. This pivot point was taken out in November. This pivot point from the relief rally, even though it was only 21% relief rally, it was still relief rally, not as high as what people hoped. This weekly close last week or Sunday took out this pivot point. You'd have to zoom in to really see it, but it did only by a couple $100. So actually, if I zoom in and move the line up a little bit more, right? I don't care if it's perfect or not, but I want it to be close. So now you can kind of see it better. Here, let's see. You kind of see a little bit better that it closed below it. This is called follow through, right? It's called follow through. And if it closes down here, it'll be the lowest candle close since March 2025. And it's back to the same prices as November 2024, right? The trend is down. The trend is down. I'm not bearish. I'm not bearish. The bears are calling me a perma bull back here. I was bearish. I wasn't bearish. The chart was bearish in 2022. The chart was bearish. And I said one day I will be bullish again because the chart will be bullish again, right? And I was. I was bullish at 16,800. You can call me bearish because the chart is bearish, right? I'm a swing trader. Try to keep the lens as neutral and clear as possible so you can see it as it is, not as you hope it to be, not what the talking heads are telling you it is, or the narratives, or the up only crew because they only know up only, or they refuse to see it, or they're just doing it for clicks. There are a ton of influencers out there who only do up only for clicks. It's true. I proved it in 2022 that you get a lot more clicks and a lot more followers. And many of them have doubled or tripled my followers when I had more followers because they posted up only in 2022. But that's okay. I'm never going to post a bullish chart if it's bearish. And I'm not going to post a bearish chart if it's bullish, right? I'm going to post it as I see it. Right or wrong, that's a different story. I'll never be 100% accurate. But breaking this horizontal is more important. Now the new line, the support line is, well, we haven't broken here. Okay. Cool. Now you're moving to a line where from wick to wick, if it closes below that, it's basically 40%. So now you've moved the bar to where you completely miss the top. Instead of down 36%, it would be down 40%. And then you become a dollar cost averaging bro. So you go from buy the dip, bro, you're down 40%. Now you become a dollar cost average, bro. So that's what happens. We saw it in the last market. It was buy the dip. And then after it was people were capitulating, they switched to the narrative of, oh, just zoom out and dollar cost average because they missed the top again, right? If you don't sell the local top, I've been saying, if you don't sell the local top, in hindsight, it's the top. In hindsight, this is becoming more and more as the top. But it started as a local top. This was a local top with signs that it could have been the top. And then on April 11th, it started flipping around with bullish divergence on the daily chart. It was flipping around. And then it became a buy on April 11th when I posted it. It was a buy. It was bullish divergence, right? The landscape looks totally different now. I'm not talking about the narratives. I'm talking about the chart landscape. It looks completely different. The weekly chart, the 2-week chart, the 3-week chart, and the monthly chart all look completely different. And we've been covering it every single live stream and every day on X with posts about it. And we haven't changed our thought. We haven't changed our thesis. So this left shoulder, head and shoulders, right and shoulder, if you're drawing that out now and now you're going to start taking action as it's breaking below here, It's better to be late than never, but it's super late. Like if you're finally becoming like, oh, hey, it doesn't look bullish anymore, you're super late, right? The local top was reversing in October. I put the Wyckoff distribution October 6th. Price was at almost 124. It was 123,700. October 10th, I posted the weekly chart with the weekly targets and all that stuff. So I was early, but I was seeing it happen in real time. Similar patterns to the past. And then November happened. The October did not happen. Moon November did not happen. Santa Rally Santa December didn't happen. And you know, this will be our fourth consecutive bearish Bitcoin month. Fourth consecutive. Against gold, it's the sixth consecutive bearish month. So if you've been saying we're going to make new all-time highs, or you've been watching people make claims that we're going to go make new all-time highs, they've literally been on the wrong side of the trade for 4 months against the dollar, against the euro, against the British pound. They're all about 3 or 4 months, three bearish candles in a row. Or I think they're 4, and I think the yen is 3, I think, 3 consecutive. But against gold, it's 4 consecutive, right? It's against gold, it's 6 consecutive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only have one more day. So 99.99999% chance it's going to be 6 consecutive, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 99.9999% chance that we're going to have 4 consecutive bearish months in a row, right? Bitcoin versus the euro, pending sell signal on the monthly chart. So we're going to get into all that. We're going to cover more Bitcoin. We're going to cover the 2-week chart, 3-week chart, 4-week chart, all of that stuff. We're going to cover altcoin stocks, but we're going to go a little bit faster today because I have a lot to do. I always say that, but I have a lot to do before the nanny leaves and daddy daycare starts today. And I've got to run some errands too, get prepped for the weekend, family time with the weekend, all that stuff. So I do have a lot to do. So we're going to get into all that. But before we do, we've never taken $1 of affiliate money. So we do promote our own Market Sniper Pro. So we only have one plan. It truly is the most popular. So since it was the most popular, we removed the $29 plan and the $9 plan. And this was actually the second most popular, so we kept it. But if, for example, 100 people sign up, it's probably 10% or less. Close to 10%. 10% do the annual. So people are still doing the $49 a month, which is perfectly fine. I actually prefer the $49 a month because this becomes like $40 a month. So it saves 2 months per year. That's the only plan we have. And this is the screener, right? It's got the screener. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. Signal alerts you could do. You could filter it. We're gonna have even more filters. Like you could add a bunch of filters, bullish or bearish, depending on what you're into, shorting or buying, right? Or you want to look at bearish factors in case you're in a long position and you think you might want to sell stocks, cryptos, ETFs. But for example, this one was based off of bearish. So it's more of a bearish setup the way I did it, because I've only been showing bullish because that's what most people do. But bearish setups, you can see that it was bearish divergence on the daily chart. HT. I don't even know what that is. We only have the ticker symbol on here, but HT. Bearish divergence on the MACD. I put both of them on the settings. You can see this screener automatically draws the trend lines for you. It automatically does, the green means it's basically bullish again. It's a buy signal. The orange means it's ultra bullish, aka when the magic happens, or uh, ultra bullish, right? Bearish divergence. This could be a lower high. I'm just spotting that. And then looks like it was a sell signal. And, even draws the trend lines on RSI for us too. So we have the 200-week moving average down here at $37. We have I think there's a 20-week moving average over here. I don't use a 20-week moving average myself, but it seems like longer term, if it gets extended away from there as well, you could probably use it as a target. Looks like you have a gap down here at $41. So this is a daily chart of a potential breakdown on HTHT. You can push it to trading view, and this is a weekly chart, but you can see that it had the sell signal and it's gapping down, right? So it's gapping down. But I actually found it yesterday before the gap down. So sell signal, uh, and then it was a buy signal, but it was underneath the train dot. So if you had found this yesterday, like myself, then you could have looked at it as like, oh, there was a sell signal. Price came back tested the train dots. That could have been your entry, and then $47 later. And again, like I said, there's a gap, a gap. So retracements on. I think the 20-week moving average is right around that $43 to what is that? 44. Oh, it tells you over here 44.14. And then the newer version of this is already built, and we're beta testing it on the admin portal. A newer version. We already have a newer version of this. It's crazy. We're moving so fast, right? Uh, the newer version is going to have a probability score from 0 to 100 of this breakout to the downside playing out in real time, right? So it's it'll have the probability score, and then it'll also have what will it also have? The probability has probability score and the price targets. So there you go. But that's the screener. That's it. The sniper assist I told you about is still an admin. Analyze this chart for HTHT is thinking. So AI is already incorporated into it. We've been training the AI on 70 plus hours of my coaching, traded on 7,500 plus charts, all that. So spits that out. That's coming soon, but we don't have that yet. It's all going to cost money, right? It's all going to cost money. And right now it's only a $49 a month plan. Alerts. So all that's built in. That's just a screener. You have the dashboard, journal, portfolio, strategies, all that. Charts coming soon. This might just be admin. Oops. Setups, community tab we just rolled out. We have our own community tab. We're posting charts and stuff. Recorded coaching. So we're gonna We're gonna keep the Discord for a while, but the Discord is the bridge. It can do more things than our community, but not for long. Uh, recorded coaching videos, so many of them. That used to be $79. I was told that the $79 per month was worth it by itself with recorded coaching. We've added that to the $49, and of course, coming soon on AI all being incorporated into it. So with that, that's the weekly chart. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, question mark. Do you agree? Is this a head and shoulders pattern or not? Uh, Yeah, don't tell us what to do with our family. If we want to share it, we will. What? Okay. Oh boy. London, UK, not so sexy news. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Lawrence? Welcome back. Can you watch Hype, please? Yeah, we can look at it. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Pragadish. 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 Good afternoon, Jesse. Welcome back, Caesar. Good to see you on here. Happy Friday, TGIF. Boom. All right, so that's the head and shoulders. Let's go on to, before we leave the weekly chart, let's look at, this was potential, another potential pattern, right? Uh kind of a bear flag ish. So if you got the bear flag, so this was the head and shoulders target, looking at it like this, like if you drew it out like that. So you got the head and shoulders pattern here. You've got a potential bear flag pattern here, but actually you probably put it from where it was breaking out. So they both line up for price to go underneath the 200-week moving average. Do I expect it to happen overnight? Definitely not. This is a weekly chart. It takes time to play out. So it had the candle close on the upward sloping trend line. Could have also been, the bear flag, right? So you got a potential bear flag, takes you down. You got a potential head and shoulders pattern breakdown, right? The main thesis is that price retests the 200-week moving average before it makes a new all-time high. And that thesis was from October. And here we are almost into February. And that thesis continues to stack probabilities of we are going to retest the 200-week moving average. There's never a guarantee. Woo! 89? Oh yeah, $91 right now. Wow. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Down 21%. Wow. So, the thing about gold, silver, Bitcoin, it's not just spot. If it was just spot, I would probably just save in spot, right? But they're all highly leveraged with futures, CFDs, perpetuals, futures, options, ETFs, ETF options, ETF 2X, ETF 3X, leverage, right? There's so much leverage. So you have spot, which would be a great savings, in my opinion. But then you have paper version of Bitcoin. You have paper version of gold. You have paper version of silver, and you have paper version of all these quote unquote hard assets, right? So anytime you have a paper version created with leverage, is it really truly the price that it is, right? So I say not. I say not. So what I always say is the true value is the 200-week moving average, right? On an asset. So if it gets multiple deviations away from it, it's probably because of leverage. It's probably because of the leverage hype and all of that. And then it gets overextended. There's profit taking, and the momentum shifts to the downside. The momentum shifts back to the 200-week moving average and even goes below that in previous bear markets. So multiple reasons to come back down. We drew out the 3-month support the other day. We drew out the 6-month support the other day. We have a lot of reasons to come back down into this oval. So will it happen? I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know. I don't have a magic crystal ball. I can't grab your hand and read your palm and tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So I can only stack probabilities, recognize patterns. I think I have a pretty good pattern recognition. I think I'm pretty good at comparing like versus like and spotting similarities, spotting the differences. I think those are all my strong points, right? But I do not tell the fortune. I do not predict. I anticipate, forecast, but I do not say by this date Bitcoin will be this. By this date, it could be this, right? This is a little bit of a difference. But I know if you say I predicted XYZ, then you get more clicks, but it's not reality. Um, just stack probabilities, trust the charts, block the noise. So that's that on the weekly chart. Let's try to clean this up a little bit to kind of talk about where we're at. Strong weekly trending dots to the downside. Strong weekly trending dots to the downside. All the way until the finally flipped green January 2023, right? So that's a weekly chart. 2-week chart, red trending dots for the first time since 2022. We've talked about this, but we'll keep talking about it. Bearish engulfing candle on the 2-week chart. There is a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly chart. The 2-week chart closes on February 2nd. So that will be confirmed. Most likely it's a bearish engulfing candle, right? That's not bullish. 3-week chart, another bearish engulfing candle, confirmed. I talked about this bearish engulfing candle when it happened in real time. And everyone wanted to point this out over here. I said, okay, that's fine. Point that out. But price still went lower. So when there was a 3-week bearish engulfing candle, and this was a local top, price still went lower and hit a 32% correction from wick to wick. So this was at least going to be a local top. In hindsight, it was bearish engulfing candle at 114,000. And I even talked about in October, end of October, I believe, maybe October 30th ish. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was saying that this is probably the last time you'll be able to sell your Bitcoin at $110,000 for a long time, right? And a long time is relevant to whatever you think is a long time. But for me, the last time you'll be able to sell your Bitcoin for 110,000 is similar to saying this is the last time you're going to be able to sell your Bitcoin at $60,000 for a long time. In hindsight, that was true, in my opinion, because $60,000 you wouldn't have been able to sell until February 2024. So February 2024, November 2021. So that's 2.5 years. To me, that's a long time of holding it, right? 2.5 years. Just zoom out, Jesse. I know. Just zoom out. 3-week chart, first time red trending dots since 2022. We're on the second red trending dot, and it was breaking down, and it was taking out this pivot point. It's deja vu. It's not exact. It's not exactly the same, but there are a lot of similarities. And a lot of people are just pointing it out now. And a lot of people are still thinking new all-time highs. This is very, very similar to 2022. And it wasn't until the buy the dip bros became DCA bros all the way until May or June. And then they blamed the, what was it? FTX. I'm trying to remember all the dates. Celsius, 3 Arrows, BlockFi, right? We all got caught up in that. I lost $9,000 on BlockFi. But even that, I was over diversified. And the reason why I lost $9,000 on BlockFi, because I forgot about it. I forgot about $9,000 on BlockFi. So I lost $9,000 on BlockFi when BlockFi went bankrupt, but I was holding Gemini USD, right? So it was supposed to be guaranteed Gemini USD. And thank God I was, right? I mean, $9,000. I forgot about it. So obviously it wasn't the end of the world, but I got the $9,000 back. So through bankruptcy courts, I got my $9,000 back. And if I had been holding Bitcoin through there on that wallet, I had like 20 wallets diversified. So too much, too much, too much, too much. I don't hold that many now, um, but I was holding the Gemini USD, uh, obviously because it was a bear market. I wasn't holding the Bitcoin. I wasn't holding the Ethereum. I wasn't holding that through a bear market. No way. No way. So I was holding it in Gemini. They went through bankruptcy courts and I got it back. And I was like, and I was pretty excited because I was like, oh, it's money I already thought I lost, right? I was like, oh man. And, you know, things like that happen in life where companies go bankrupt. It's never a guarantee. So I understand the risk. I understand the risk. So I wasn't upset about it, but I was pumped when I got it back. I was like, oh, okay, 9,000. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I got it back. And you know, but I understand the risks. And so for me, it's like um when I got scammed, it was like $12,000 in 2021, no, 2020, end of 2020 or early 2021. I got scammed like $12,000 for Bitcoin mining equipment, right? And that hurt because I was risking that the mining equipment would work. I was risking that the mining equipment uh, would have a return on investment, whether it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, whatever. And I plan to mine and sell at the top with a swing trader mentality. And so getting scammed out of like I was cool with the risk that okay, I risk it on mining equipment, it doesn't work and I lose money, right? But the downside is that okay, maybe I resell it, the mining equipment, and I take a 50% loss, whatever it is, right? I don't know. That was kind of the thought process. But just to get scammed outright on mining equipment for like 12,500 bucks, whatever it was, that's what that's what made me mad. So luckily, I also had bought what was it? Oh, helium mining equipment, right? I bought this helium mining equipment and it mined like 140 HNTs and I sold it at the I bought the mining equipment when it was like $6 and as a swing trader, I sold all the HNT I had when it hit like 50 something dollars. And so, recouped a lot, recouped a lot. And then I think HNT went away too. So, and that helium miner is like a router or something, just, it collects dust. Or maybe I threw it out already. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Uh, but so that eased the pain, right? But I did have a successful helium purchase and I mined helium and then sold it at the top. The Bitcoin mining equipment, I did not, and I was scammed out of it. So buyer beware. Be careful, be careful, be careful. If the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and I was scammed. But their website and everything was just so convincing, right? It seemed legit. Said my order was there, showed me that it was shipped, all that stuff, and then nothing ever happened. So, whew, trip down memory lane. But anyways, uh, the BlockFi thing, like you understand the risk that companies could go bankrupt. You understand that altcoins could go to zero. That companies like Three Arrows that are over leverage or exchanges that are, you know, they promote to US people even though they're restricted in the US, all that stuff. So just buyer beware. But this is a 3-week chart. That's probably enough of a rant or a ramble down memory lane. Uh, Monthly chart, we talked about it. 4 consecutive bearish monthly candles in a row. That didn't even happen in 2021, 2022. There was 3 in a row. Then the relief rally was better because this relief rally was just wick, close down, wick, close down, right? And then 3 more consecutive bearish monthly candles. So total, there was 6, and then it was kind of sideways and down, sideways and down. But you're looking at before it started to reverse back around on the monthly chart, 13 months, and then that reversal was on the 14th month. So, you know, uh, and you could say like, okay, it's been 4 in a row, but maybe like looking at the monthly chart, we're already, possibly 5 months into it versus this would be, it's kind of the way I look at it. So October maybe is the 14th month or the 15th month where it flips back around. And that kind of lines up with the weekly chart on here that I did. So the fractal that I put on October 10th, October to October, 12-month bear market kind of lines up with that. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The weekly chart could be breaking down from target 2, which signals a higher probability of target 3. That'd put price at about $70,000. Break below that signals that will come back down and retest the 200-week moving average. Probabilities will increase, and that would take price to 60,000 or lower. Whenever that happens, we don't know. Timing wise is a different story. The 4th target was hit in 2022. It's a possibility. Lines up with the head and shoulders and lines up with the bear flag. In 2022, price hit the target 5, which will bring it back down to $40,000. And we have reasons why for that as well. This is the 6 month. I think there's a 3 month. Yeah, you got the 3 month at 58, and you got the 6 month at 46,000. And I probably had another reason why, but 40,000. There's several reasons why I could come back to that as well. So we will see, and we'll find out if there's bullish divergence, breakout, all that similar to 2022. So not only the downside, but the reversal would be awesome as well. So we're continuing to watch that on Bitcoin. I think we've covered it all the way through and through. For fun, we can look at the 3-month chart, show you what I'm looking at. Get the training dots down there on the 3-month chart. Bearish divergence, right? $113, $59. What else? What else? That's the 3-month chart. Hasn't crossed over on the 3-month chart, so the bulls are still holding on for hope. But you have it lined up a lot here where the training dots are near the 200-week moving average on the 3-month. 6-month, the training dots are a lot lower. So, they're currently at 33,000, but of course, after the 6-month candle close in July, it'll be around $40,000. So keep that in mind. 12-month is way down here at 18,500. Well, it takes years for it to catch up, right? It takes years. So we'll keep an eye on it all, see what happens. Daily chart, of course, is still bearish. The relief rally, right? The relief rally hit the exact same target as it did in 2022 on most of the exchanges. One of the exchange, it only hit 1 out of 2, but all the other ones, they hit both on the target box. Broke down, took out this pivot point, took out this pivot point, took out this pivot point, and it took out this pivot point, signaling further downside, right? That's not bullish. It's bullish because it's down to these prices and it's going to flip. No, it's not bullish. That's confirmation that it's not bullish. It's confirmation that we lost support. It's confirmation. So here we are. That's daily chart. With that, we'll take a couple look-sees at let's see, XRP breaking down. Remember this confirmation line over here is similar to MicroStrategy, which signals further downside that we're going to come back and retest the 200-week moving average. I talked about it. I covered it on MicroStrategy. I talked about it. I talked about it. I talked about it. I talked about it. Talked about it. Pumped all the way back up. Talked about it. Talked about it. I would be very surprised. Now, I've been surprised before. I would be very surprised if XRP did not retest the 200-week moving average. I'd be very surprised. So $1.11 currently, right? Almost $1.11. It'll be $1.11 by the time it hits it, probably. So Ethereum continues to get closer and closer to the 200-week moving average. Looks downward sloping. Breaking news. The 200-week moving average is downward sloping. That's not good. That's not good. We've talked about this. It's downward sloping on the 200-week moving average. When it's downward sloping, probabilities of Ethereum going to $7,000 is like, while it's downward sloping, I would say it's 0.01% or 0.000001%, right? It's always a possibility, but it's not probable. It's downward sloping. It's at let's see, 2458, and it was at 2486. So it's downward sloping. And I said, watch out. If Bitcoin starts downward sloping the 200-week moving average, that would be the first time in Bitcoin's history that it would ever have a downward sloping 200-week moving average. That's not bullish. Just like Bitcoin versus gold. Bitcoin versus gold started the downward sloping 200-week moving average. That's not bullish. It's the first time ever Bitcoin versus gold has started downward sloping the 200-week moving average. That is not bullish. It's not bullish. I guess you had it a little bit over here. When I posted the chart, it was based off of the monthly chart, right? So there was no downward sloping 200 on the monthly chart for the 200-week moving average. On the monthly chart, it's downward sloping on Bitcoin versus gold. If it starts to do that against the dollar, that is not bullish. That means it's going to take time for the ship to get turned around. It's not bullish. So Bitcoin versus the euro, it's still upward sloping, right? Still upward sloping. So still upward sloping. But if it starts to flatten out and then starts to curl over like it is on Bitcoin versus gold or Ethereum versus the dollar or altcoins versus the dollar, right? That's not bullish. So let's get back on the weekly chart and let's show you what I'm talking about, right? XRP still chain link, downward sloping 200. Downward sloping 200. It never went to make a new all-time high, and we stopped hoping or thinking it would once we saw the 200 start to downward slope. It had a nice bounce, but it did not make a new all-time high. And now it's back below the 200. That's not bullish. Cardano started to downward slope in December and January 2025. December 2024, January 2025. We talked about this. We covered it. It bounced, but it did not make a new all-time high. It's been downward sloping for a year, and we're back at 32 cents. It's been in a bear market since 2021. It's never a guarantee. And if the 200-week moving average starts to downslope on Bitcoin versus the dollar, like it is Bitcoin versus gold, that's not bullish. That's not bullish. I'll go ran all the way down. Yes, we played it to the upside. Yes, I played it a couple times over here and had a couple smaller wins and even like a 6% win. I took over 6% win is awful. This is like a 350% win, right? So, you know, I hoped for this. I wanted it. I hoped for it. I wanted it. But we got to keep the overall trend in mind. Downward sloping H bar back below the 200. That's not bullish. XLM coming back for a retest of the 200. It's downward sloping, right? Zoom in here. Curling over again. That's not bullish. How low will it go? I don't know. We talked about in the past, like Rose and stuff. The coin Rose came all the way back down here, and I haven't checked on it. Someone asked me to look it up, but it started to go below this point. So I don't know if that's going to happen again. Near is back to these lows, October 2023 lows, and might start falling below it, right? It's possible it comes and makes a new all-time low at 56 cents. It's possible. That's not bullish. It's not bullish. It's bullish once it reverses. That's when it's bullish. That's when it's buy the right dip. Just because an asset is low doesn't mean it's a good time to buy. You could argue it was low over here at $4.40 compared to $20. You could argue it was low and then it drops another 70%. So I'm waiting to buy the right dip. MicroStrategy, the canary in the coal mine. The canary in the coal mine. Yeah. Yeah, it's true because it's not just spot metals. It's not just the precious metal. It's precious metal plus all the paper metal. The paper metal being high leverage. There is 10, 15 plus X leverage on these. You have ETFs with options. You have options on top of leverage ETFs. There's so much leverage. It is going to be volatile. Definitely, right? Because it's highly leveraged. So we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I know. You already asked me. You already asked me. No need to repeat. If I forget, then I'll apologize. But if I don't forget, then I got it. So the monthly chart on MicroStrategy, I've been saying since the top, the canary in the coal mine. On the breakout to the upside, I talk about the canary in the coal mine. In the last bear market, the canary in the coal mine. Canary, 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 canary in the coal mine. Now we have a sell signal on MicroStrategy monthly chart, followed by retesting the 200-week moving average. It played out. My thesis played out. The Adam and Eve double top pattern also played out, right? What I was talking about on XRP, breaking that pivot point here with the candle close, signaled higher probability we're coming to the 200-week moving average. It's happened. The Adam and Eve double top pattern, whether that happens or not, does line up with this horizontal support at about $80. It's possible. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But the top was in on the day that there was a bearish engulfing candle. I said, is the top in? And I had a question mark. and then I remove the question mark, right? So NASDAQ, we're just going down the list. NASDAQ, pending sell signal on NASDAQ. We talked about it looked very similar of an Adam and Eve double top pattern, similar to MicroStrategy, but on the daily chart. So if it breaks this confirmation line here at 24,101, obviously I wouldn't be waiting for that. I'm just showing you that it's another probability of stacking that price is coming back down to target, back to target 1, target 2, target 3 is breaking this line. And of course, it's no longer a pending sell signal, but as a line in the sand, that's more conservative. This is it's pending sell signal right now. SP 500 had a pending sell signal earlier as well and could look the same, right? So technically, this is still a possible lower high, lower than over here. So bearish divergence, lower high. I still have to redraw these targets a titch. Probably like that. there. I redrew them. Now I don't have to say that anymore. I don't know. I'll have to double check them, but they probably moved a little bit, right? Because we took out the wick. Did we? Yeah. I probably didn't even have to move them that much. They're probably fine. I don't think it's going to matter. Pending sell signal in the very near future on SP 500 daily chart, most likely. So let's take a look at gold. Whoo! A lot of people had FOMO. They wanted to buy gold, right? And what it talked about was over here, the Bitcoiners were talking about that, hey, gold is going to sell off and it's going to rotate into Bitcoin. And I said, well, the higher time frames are still ultra bullish. It's still buy the dip season, in my opinion. And of course, it was buy the dip season and then price went higher. As if you buy low and sell into FOMO, not buy into FOMO, but sell into FOMO, in my opinion, it's a much better strategy. Some people would rather buy high and sell low, right? I think it's a better strategy to buy the dip, buy the low on the dip in ultra bullish conditions, and then sell into the FOMO, whether that's multi-stage take profit or whatever. That's something you have to always make a decision on. But it's coming back to the trailing dots. That's the daily chart. The weekly chart, it's a nasty wick, still above the trailing dots. 2-week chart, still ultra bullish. Still ultra bullish on the 2-week chart. Trailing dots are way down here. 3-week chart, ultra bullish still currently. Monthly chart, still ultra bullish, really far extended away from the trailing dots and the 200-week moving average, and so on and so on. So was that the top? Maybe. It's too early to say. There's no bearish divergence yet, right? So it could be another one of these as of right now. Me personally, I'm not interested in shorting this. So if it does become another buy the dip scenario, maybe it would be something similar, right? And then you got your, so like if you miss this run, because we talked about it back here, if you miss this run, maybe you get one more run. I don't know. Maybe you get 2 more runs. Maybe you get 3 more. This one was a nice buy the dip scenario. This one was a nice buy the dip scenario. We don't know if it's going to give another buy the dip scenario. And then we don't know if it's going to put in future bearish divergence, right? Could put in bearish divergence and kind of start going through a topping pattern. Maybe. But if there's bearish divergence followed by, a lower high, that's a higher probability. It's the same patterns we see time and time and time and time again, right? So the more you stare at charts, the more you obsess over charts, the more you recognize patterns over and over and over again. You could say predict. I say forecast, speculate, for sure speculate. So I speculate, I forecast based off of pattern recognition, and they may or may not be right. I do side-by-side asset comparisons. I think I'm pretty good at that. And so on and so on. So that's possible. That would be more of like being able to call a top. It's a higher probability of calling tops when you put bearish divergence and lower highs and it's extended away and blah, blah, blah. So, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet. Still bullish on all accounts, still above the training dots, but it's coming back. So silver looks a little bit different. Silver looks a little bit different. We did talk about the bearish divergence. We did talk about, this. We drew this before it happened today, right? We drew this out. Hold on, let's just take a break for a second. Oh my goodness. Quick break. Watch party if music is on. So we drew this out. Maybe come up like this, creates bearish divergence, comes back down, creates bearish divergence, comes back down. It could continue to create bearish divergence. That's why the lower high is the higher probability that the top is in. The lower high is the higher probability. So that's what we're always looking for. Because if you call the bearish divergence the top with certainty before there's a lower high, like we can say there's bearish divergence could start forming a top. It's not as high of a probability as if there's a lower high, right? So the lower high is a higher probability. So bearish divergence, maybe it even comes all the way back, right? Maybe this line is more like all the way back. And people are like, what the heck? Comes all the way up. Maybe puts in additional bearish divergence. Who knows if it continues like that and it just becomes this wild animal, right? And then all of a sudden, and that would be a higher probability that the top is in, right? Or over here, right? So we could look at the higher time frames, but you have a pending sell signal, candle close below the trailing dots, bearish engulfing candle, all of that. So It's dropped out the bottom, but it has not made a lower high yet. So it could reverse back around, just like it showed. It could come back down first, then reverse back around and either put in that lower high or reverse back around and put in additional bearish divergence or a little high or additional bearish divergence and then a lower high, right? So that's what we don't know, but that's what we'll keep an eye on. So silver, not ready to call it yet. Doesn't mean there is going to be bearish divergence additional. This could be the bearish divergence, and then there could be the lower high. So the lower high could be down here. So we don't know yet. We don't know yet. But the lower high, if it's just a lower high like this, you know, it's possible. But let's look at the higher time frames just to like see where we're at. Bearish engulfing. Bearish engulfing. You have the train dots down here. 62. Right? So could still be bullish on the higher time frames, but come back and test the trending dots as an example. But bearish engulfing candle, assume it's going to hold and probably going to come back lower. First, 2-week chart still ultra bullish. 3-week chart, monthly chart. So could just be while the higher time frames are ultra bullish, just like we talked about, it could come back down to like that 61 area, shoot straight back up, right? Just crazy volatility. So that's silver. What else? What else? What else? What else? I know we got a lot of we got some requests. So boom, 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 boom. We haven't looked at, let's see, the VIX. The VIX is bullish on the daily chart, but really getting above, closes above $19, the volatility really picks up, right? That's kind of like the line in the sand. So, but we have a pending buy signal on the weekly chart. So we'll see. We'll see. Getting closes above the 200, above $19, the volatility could spike. Dollar, massive drop. It's getting a recovery from right now. So it's getting a retracement right now. And we did talk about this, that, you know, however the price action plays out, we'll keep an eye on it. And there could be a breakout at some point. So we'll see. But it's not like I'm trading the dollar. 2x leverage silver. 54%. It's high risk, high reward, high loss. Imagine someone bought here. Someone bought at 430. It's down 58%. That makes me think that the top is in. So a relief rally could happen, right? A gap down. But that is nasty. That is nasty. Filling these gaps right here. There's gaps all the way down, right? All the way up. Woo-wee. That is a nasty. That's why it's hard to say a store value beyond the 200-week moving average for any asset. Because leverage like AGQ, which is a 2x leverage ETF, had a blow off top. And now it's crashing. And now it's what I just measured it. Come on, Jesse. What is it? Currently 60% drop. Overnight. 60% drop. Or more. It closed here at 399, so not overnight, 60% drop. But from the top wick yesterday's top wick today is down 60%. That's insane. So that kind of changes my thoughts a little bit. I mean, look at it. It's just crashing hard. It's crashing hard. And Bitcoin's going down too. So trade the chart individually. Where are we at? Let's see. Let me look at something real quick. I'll put the music back on for 1 second. And then we gotta wrap this up because I got some things to do. Do it later. Do it later. Wow, AGQ. Just wiping out anyone who bought AGQ since December on leverage is wiped. So, whew. All right. So that's AGQ. What else? Gap down here on TerraWolf. Sell signal. Boom, boom. Sell signal. If you're hitting the buy signal, don't forget to hit the sell signal, right? Obviously not financial advice, but just saying if you're good at one thing of hitting the buy signal, make sure you're also good at, ultra bullish, check. So Riot, CLSK, Bitfarm. Woo! That bullish divergence was cleared. We gonna make it? Are we? Yeah, we'll make it to the 200-week moving average. Iris Energy. It's all coming down. Bam! Hit some targets to the upside. Oh, platinum. Dang. Bearish divergence. We talked about it, right? We talked about it. We said no matter how the price action plays out, it could be a buy the dip scenario. Maybe not. Maybe not. But we did call this out on the live stream. Bearish divergence. Could be a sneaky lower high. Sell signal. Crashing down. Could be the next buy the dip signal scenario. But I don't know yet. I don't know. It's breaking down pretty hard, pretty fast, right? So maybe it needs to come down further. Platinum, palladium, uranium, copper. So many people wanted to get into copper the past few days. So many people are asking me about copper. So many people were talking about it, right? So careful. Someone asked me about Glow. Yesterday. Ooh, Magnificent 7. Tesla bouncing. TQQQ is the inverse of the QQQs, pending sell signal. It's a bullish ETF with 3x leverage, short to the downside. PLTR, we talked about it. We covered it. We covered the breakdown in real time. Bearish divergence, lower high is falling out. We talked about the pending sell signal on the weekly chart 2 days ago when price was back up here in the 160s. Meta weekly chart, new gap. It's just gapalicious over there. UNH, SMCI. Russell has a pending sell signal. Breaking news. Breaking news, pending sell signal on the NASDAQ. Apple, Amazon. Seems like they're all rolling over. SP 500, pending sell signal. Breaking news. What else? What else? Yep. And SPY will have a pending sell signal in the near future, probably. Nvidia, Microsoft hit 4 out of 4 targets to the downside so far. Got this huge gap over here. Huge gap. Google, Tesla, holding on, but for how much longer, right? So that's that. What else? All right, so we got some chart requests. Hype. There's been a lot of hype around hype. Get it? What exchange? Yeah, try to give me all the details. Vandenberg 2734. DNS Vandenberg. Hype. This daily chart caught a bounce. It's a bounce until proven otherwise. Maybe that was it. Got rejected at the weekly trading dots. So it's still bearish on the weekly chart as of right now. 2-week chart, still bearish. There's probably not enough chart history for the higher time frames. 3-week chart is still bearish. Monthly chart. So expect bounces. Expect bounces to get sold off. And is that a bearish engulfing candle? Not really, but kind of, right? It's kind of a bearish engulfing candle. So it's not a bullish candle. So it seems like it wants to at least retest the trailing dots down here. And that was a good bounce with bullish divergence cleared. So now you're going to find out if it's going to put in a lower high or not. I'm going to say maybe not, just because the higher time frames are still bearish. So you still have to lean that way, or at least I would lean that way. What else? Yep. Are you going to short? Are you going to short? And what would be your, if you're on options, what's your strike price? What's the strike price? What is the expiration date? All that stuff. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, the wife's, I got her, I don't know if it was a silver or, I don't know. pretty sure it was a silver band. It was the same price, right? But then she just prefers a gold band. So she took the diamond after I bought it, and she's like, "Would you be upset if I got gold?" And I'm like, "No." And it was the same price, so she swapped out the gold for the band, and so she's got a gold band with the diamond. And a diamond, when I bought it in 2020, I thought I was a hero because it spiked. So first of all, I got at a wholesale company, not at like Costco or some of the big retail brands, and I paid cash. So that saved a lot of money. They handed me an appraisal report for $16,000 when I bought it. I only paid 6, and diamonds spiked hard, and I was like, "Oh, wow. She's wearing a lot of money on her finger," right? And then the diamond market crashed, and I haven't looked, but I think the diamond's worth less probably than when I originally bought it at wholesale with a cash discount. Uh, it's probably worth less. Why? Because of laser diamonds, right? So, anywho, so it spiked hard at one point. I don't even want to speculate. I feel like diamonds were at like her diamond would have been like 40,000 on her finger, and now it's probably less than 6,000. I don't know. So, but that's where we're at. So we wait, I guess. I mean, I don't give financial advice, my buddy, my man, my buddy. uh, Qcoin. Okay. Well, good thing we saw Qcoin. That was, but yeah, all the details helps for me on the live stream to keep the live streaming. Bitcoin is dropping. Bitcoin is oversold on the daily chart. Bitcoin can remain oversold on the daily chart. It is bearish. Uh bearish. Bearish MACD crossover back below the 0 line, right? Bearish. This is that head and shoulders close below it on the daily, could close below it on the weekly, and we are going lower. So it's ultra bearish right now. We did spike down to 81,000. I think on other exchanges is below 81,000. So we're at 81,000, back below 82,000 now. And weekly chart, right? The head and shoulders price is at 82,000. Looks so crazy when you draw it, but you hide the candles. Right? You could change this to line, probably draw it out better. Yeah, could I have used this? Sure, but I used this one. This is a lower high, lower right shoulder, breaking the neckline, right? Below the neckline. Neckline was at like 85,000 on this chart. It's currently at 81,800. Um, we got the bear flag, already broke down from the bear flag, breaking down the weekly chart. So multiple patterns showing down here. We have multiple market sniper targets down there, all of that. Well, it's highly speculative with leverage. So the simple answer is price went parabolic, price was overextended, and there's profit taking that's going on because it's highly leveraged. And maybe there's profit taking because, expiration dates, whether it's on options, whether it's on futures, uh, versus them, the bigger players rolling it into the next expiration date. Maybe they're taking profits, and it's highly leveraged. So same with Bitcoin, it's highly leveraged. So that's what's happening. I don't do the news or the narratives. I just completely through trading a trading lens, right? Trading lens. But Bitcoin is below $82,000, and the daily chart is ultra bearish, aka oversold, but it can remain that way. Ultra bearish doesn't mean the bottom's in, right? It does not mean the bottom's in. If you go back to 2022, right? Oversold, bottom was not in. Oversold, bottom was not in. The local bottom was in. Oversold, the bottom was not in. The local bottom was oversold, the bottom was not in, right? So just because it's oversold doesn't mean the bottom is going to be in. And if it is going to be in, could just be a local bottom while uh, price lets the trending dots and the moving averages catch up. So that's the way I look at it. Just because the price is overbought doesn't mean the top is in, right? So big difference that people get mixed up. Just because it's oversold doesn't mean the bottom is in. Local bottom could be in, and then it crashes down and takes out that pivot point after a relief rally, after a bounce. So daily chart. Whew. Shoulder. Breaking down from longer term target 2 right now. Breaking news. Signaling that we could see longer term target 3 get hit below $80,000. That's where we're at. HODL breaking down. So many gaps below. We talked about if HODL is getting down to that $20 range, Bitcoin's going to be around that $70,000 range. So assuming HODL and the ETFs start filling some of these other gaps, look at all the gaps it's already filled. It's already filled all of these gaps. You got a new smaller gap here, new smaller gap here. May not be filled for a while. These haven't been filled for a while. So, and we even talked about that HODL and the ETFs could come back and retest the all-time low at $11. And that would put Bitcoin at I don't know, January 2024. Yeah. January 2024. Below, yeah, around 42,000. So that would put it back around that $46,000 to $40,000 range too. So if the Bitcoin ETFs do come back and test the all-time lows of when they started, when they were formed back here in January, comes back for a retest, you're going to be looking at $40,000 Bitcoin. So you got it. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for helping me help you help me. That's where we're at. There's the bear flag. The channel broke down, came back for a retest of it, resumed lower. That is not bullish. Yeah, we briefly covered those. They're rolling over. We briefly covered them, so you'd have to go back, but they're already covered them. So just a quick glance. Pending sell signal. Bearish divergence. So, yep. You got it. So that's about it. I think we covered it hard, right? I think we did. I think we covered it. We covered it. And there we are. Full circle. Head and shoulders. With that, I hope everyone has a good rest of your day. I hope you have a good weekend. Spend some time with the family. It's going to be in the low 80s today in Orange County, California. So we are excited about that. Our 19-month-old baby girl isn't feeling great. Mama's not feeling great now, but no fever or anything like that, no flu, just head cold. Probably I'm next in line, right? But, we'll get outside, we'll get some vitamin D, that natural sun, and we'll just relax over the weekend and get ready for uh, the next week and so on and so on, spend some quality family time. So get outside if you can, if it's not minus 20 degrees, wherever you're at. And we are able to go touch grass. We could even go to the pool. The pool's heated, hot tub, all that stuff. Uh, yep. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Thank you. Appreciate that. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next live stream. Adios.